Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Broadband Committee. Roll call, please.
Chairman Kirkwood.
Here.
Alderman Newsom.
Present.
Alderman Bolton.
Present.
Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Seeger.
Present.
Approval of the minutes on June 21st, 2021.
Make a motion.
Second.
So moved by Alderman Newsom, second by Alderman Bolton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Audience time. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak towards any agenda items regarding broadband? Seeing none. There's no old business. There is no new business. Reports and communication, update on broadband task force by Thomas Millard.
Mallard.
Thank you, Alderman Kirkwood. Good evening, City Council and members of the public. As many of you know, I am working with the Planning and Zoning Department at the direction of the mayor to be the lead staff member in assessing our broadband needs for the city. And working with Alderman Kirkwood, Dr. Kirkwood, over the last two administrations now, this and the former, we have been working with a community task force called the Waukegan Community Broadband Task Force. This has been a cooperation amongst the Waukegan School District, the Waukegan Township, the Lake County Health Department, a number of nonprofit agencies, and a number of other government entities and community partners in order to assess this question of internet accessibility. As many of us know, the COVID crisis has really put into the magnifying glass the deficiencies in access and usage of internet, whether it's for our school children or whether it's for our seniors in telehealth. Over the last recent number of months, the task force has undertaken a review and a search for a consultant, a nationwide consultant, to help us with a master plan, which would help us assess this situation here in Waukegan. We have did a thorough process, an RFQ, and received 6 consultants, 3 of which were for presumed solutions. City should build a network, a private entity should build a network, Comcast should expand, a provider should expand their network. The city and the partners on the task force ended up narrowing the list to 3 consultants to help us assess which outcomes, not presuming an outcome, but help us assess the outcome. This has been funded in majority by private donors. The Joy and Grace Foundation, a number of private donors, as well as the city has kicked in through CDBG, 10% of the contract, approximately $17,000, thanks to Director Garland. And that is one of CDBG's missions from a national standpoint. They have been directed to help improve broadband accessibility. We chose CTC, and CTC has been helping us and has begun the process of gathering data, both engineering and non-engineering data, in order to really begin this comprehensive review of what we can do to better assist our residents in our businesses. So I want to update you on one really big thing, which is that we are on the verge of issuing a community-wide survey. And that will be issued to approximately over 10,000 homes, just over a third of the city. This is with the expected return of surveys. They're hoping to get enough for statistical significance. Obviously, the question of why not every house. And in short, it's, they've undertaken the partnership with a professional survey firm, and again, the hope is to get enough, I think 500 or so. Beyond that number, you reach statistical significance for what the data would provide. These are questions from anything from who is your provider? Do you use the internet? Do you have a device that if it was broken tomorrow, how long would it take you to replace it? And so on and so forth. This is a survey that will be in both English and in Spanish. And we, with the assistance of the mayor's office, the mayor's executive assistant, will also help us as a point person for any calls that need to be received in Spanish. And we appreciate that. So we have a request today, if you might, we'll be developing some social media points, but if you are able to help distribute that to the community in the next month, letting them know, please, if they receive one of these surveys, that they please fill it out. We've paid for the postage. This is really going to help inform us of how we really develop solutions for the public. And as a side note, because I think it also is helpful to know, the city was proud to be selected as a recipient or a partner of the state's Office of Broadband Illinois Connected Communities cohort. This is the second year they've issued this, and we were extended that honor. And so we are working with the state under the governor's office and getting additional assistance to our endeavor here in exploring how we can better, help our residents get all of the access to a modern, society through the internet. Any questions?
I have a question. Can you, not to make you be redundant, but how did you say CBDG is involved in the project again?
Yes, so CDBG has had funds available. This was, certainly there's been CARES money that is available that's, I think, gotten a lot of discussion, but they still had additional funds available from this, I think, past year. And they've been able to accommodate some of the funding for this, approximately a tenth of the cost. The total consultant cost over $175,000. CDBG had more than this money, but they were able to pitch in $17,000 to this contract.
Alderman Florian?
Thank you. So the surveys, are they going out to equal, like each ward gets so many, or how are you?
Yes, that's a great question. So they're actually going to do some distribution that is anticipated to target houses with lower response rates, demographics with lower response rates. And this was a question we had to the firm that we've hired, and essentially they oversample for certain segments of the population. A lot of times they would actually only do 5,000, but we pushed back and requested if they could please continue to sample as much as possible, and so they agreed to double the amount of sampling. But yes, they oversample some areas, so we do think that they will then, some of the data does, some of the survey request questions like demographic data, not to individualize the households, but so we can know if only 7th Ward residents responded, they would be able to say, this may not be exactly reflective of the entire community, and that's where they've tried to do some adjustments for that.
Okay. And how far down the road have you guys looked? Like, so this consultant is hired for how long?
So for the completion of a master plan. So it's not based solely on a time frame. Certainly well beyond the, like our cohort extends only through June. The master plan extends far beyond that until completion of the master plan.
And that 175 includes that whole package?
Yes, and that would then extend into helping us identify, the next phase would be helping us identify grants for the solutions.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Rivera?
Just a quick question. It was a great presentation. Thank you for that. But you indicated that the surveys are being sent out to people who traditionally don't respond?
No.
Maybe I misunderstood.
I apologize if that was unclear. So knowing that when you send a survey, even the census is a perfect example. people are generally reluctant. They don't have time. It's a couple pages survey. And so not everyone is going to respond. So you oversample. You're going to send more than you expect to get back. So in general, we don't expect to get even maybe 50% response. If we get 10% response, we'd love to get more, and that's why, certainly we appreciate your help in getting the word out there. Yes.
Broadly speaking, what does success look like on this? Like, what's a win for the broadband kind of development and everything that we're doing? The end goal, right?
This is I'm not going to say million. That's maybe the $100 million question, because it depends on what your community has an appetite, a financial ability to deliver, a political will to initiate. It really is something we did not want to come at this from a predetermined solution. Some communities nationwide have built municipal-owned networks. Think our water system. We own the infrastructure related to our water system. And there's some arguments to be made why that's the right thing as opposed to a private developer. There are some communities, Kenosha, Rockford, that have been, they've partnered with private entities to build out a whole high-speed fiber network throughout their community to create a secondary competition to your AT&Ts and your Comcasts. And that may be an option for them. There are some communities that do regional hotspots. So maybe we target the housing authority, and we want to make sure that we use CDBG dollars in the future. And if she's here, don't tell me if this is not your plan, but CDBG dollars to go and offer every person in Waukegan Housing Authority free internet. Or in the senior housing, free internet. We are really looking to the consultants to help us identify not only infrastructure-wise what that would entail, but financially what that cost would necessitate. And we're really looking to take this one step at a time instead of just deciding ahead of time, square peg, square hole.
All right. Thank you.
Go ahead, Alderman Flores.
So I'm someone who's lucky I can log on to my phone, right? So this broadband, is it actually fibers in the ground that we're talking? Is it waves in the air? Is it what does it look like?
So broadband can be any of the above, right? Broadband is internet access. So that could be Wi-Fi. That for the school district, they distributed, I think, 4,000 hotspots. Because and so the students were maybe not able to participate in remote learning with their video enabled. They may have only had sufficient bandwidth for. They may have had wired hotspot, but their plan may not have enabled them to have sufficient for all three kids to be streaming.
Or the parents and the kids at the same time. Or the parents,
exactly. So it can be all of the above, and it can be a build your own solution.
So it might not look the same in every part of the city?
Correct.
Okay.
Are there any additional questions from the alderpersons? Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
It's important that as we move forward that all the alderpersons are involved in getting the word out. As you know, some of our individuals in our community doesn't have the funds to pay for cable and all the other things that go on. So we want to make sure that new housing development, certainly our business communities, have that access. And we want to do this as feasible, responsible as we can, and only dig once. So that's important. So as we move forward, I would encourage all of you to get the word out to your constituents so that we can get a great number of individuals responding to the surveys. At this time, I'd like to call for adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Alderman Newsom, and Alderman Seeger. Roll call, please. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Adjourned at 5:30.
We're dismissed.